Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today in the locker room. I'm Alan Locher. Today, you are going to meet the man behind the Twitter account C19 Vax Updates, who helped thousands of New Jersey residents book COVID-19 vaccine appointments. Brett Stoelker, like myself, was born and raised in New Jersey. He created this anonymous Twitter account to help those folks aged 65 plus who had no clue how to operate websites, book appointments, or locate where they were being posted. He started this account on January 24th, and within 2 weeks, he amassed 10,000 followers and peaked at about 100,000 followers on April 1st. When I saw an article about Brett online, I knew I had to book him on my show to hear his story. I quickly learned that we had two things in common. Brett is an actor, and his first TV audition ever was for a role on Guiding Light. And one of his close friends happens to be As the World Turns cast member, Marty Schulenberg. Small world indeed. Please welcome an actor and great humanitarian, Brett Stoelker, to the locker room. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Alan.
Thanks so much for being here. Really
thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me. Yeah.
I mean, it really is quite something, what you created. I was looking at it recently and noticed a lot of my friends, from Jersey are up there. It's not too often that I get to interview Jersey boys. So where did you grow up?
I originally grew up in Gloucester County, New Jersey, in Washington Township, down by Philly, like 20, 25 minutes away from Philly. And then eventually moved up to New York years later.
Years later.
Yeah.
Did you move up to New York to become an actor? Is that?
I sure did. Yeah. I guess it would have been like maybe 2007. I think is when I actually made the move up to New York. Yeah, into Queens and Astoria.
It's a big move from Jersey, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a whole different world for sure. Yeah.
Who or what influenced you on becoming an actor?
That's an interesting question. So the furthest I can kind of predate my interest in theater was probably back in 5th grade. We had like the music woman coming around on her little music cart with a piano, and we would sing our songs. And she was like, "Hey, listen, does anyone want to audition for the school play?" It was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I was like, She's like, "You guys can get out of class for a minute to audition." I was like, "Wait, I can get out of class? All right, cool. I don't know what this means, but great." So I went in there, and she's like, "Can you sing Happy Birthday?" I said, "All right, I'll sing Happy Birthday." Sang Happy Birthday, and then I ended up I was Grumpy in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I was the only boy in that production. As it goes. So that's kind of where it started. And then I guess as time went on, I just got addicted to performing and just loved kind of creating characters and,
Did you say this was 5th grade?
This was 5th grade, yeah.
And what do you mean? She came around on what did you say she came around?
It's like a piano cart. Like it was just, just like a regular cart. It had an electric piano on it. We would sing songs in class. Yeah.
That's fabulous. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, is this out on the street somewhere? Or, no, this is.
Listen, we were outside. We would have recess, and there's this weird woman in the woods that would push this cart around.
So you auditioned for this, but when did you realize you could sing?
My mom's been saying that I've been singing my entire life. Who knew that I'd be humming down the street, when I was riding my bike? Hi, Mom. I think she's out there. I don't know. I guess maybe my first kind of big memory of me singing something cool was my freshman year talent show or maybe sophomore year of high school talent show. And I sang Your Song, because that's when Moulin Rouge had just come out on VHS or whatever it was, a DVD at that point. I sang that in front of 2,000, 2,500 of my classmates. And it was like the coolest moment ever, at that time in my life. And then it just kind of went from there. Yeah.
That's something, because let's take a listen.
Oh, come on.
It's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song. This one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done.
I had no idea that was going to be that you were going to mention that. But
Yeah.
that's one of my absolute favorite movies, Broadway plays, one of my favorite songs. Bravo.
Thanks,
Bravo.
man. Thank you. Thank you. It was really fun to cover that too. And yeah, it was a full circle kind of song. And then when I kind of was thinking of like, what can I do that's creative? Because, COVID, quarantine, what do we do? Actors, we can't do much. So I kind of turned to guitar and just kind of recreating songs. And I was really excited to kind of recreate that one. But that was lined up so perfectly. Hilarious.
That did line up amazingly.
I swear that was not planned. That was not planned.
It really was not. So let's talk Guiding Light. What do you remember about that first TV audition?
Boy, so my dad was like, "Hey, Brett, oh my God, check this out. There's this." And I was in the classifieds and like the paper, the old newspaper. This wasn't even backstage. This was like in the paper. And it was a small ad, searching for such character in Guiding Light, teenager, this and that. And he's like, all right, cool. And I just got my headshots done. They were like sepia, that classic sepia headshot. And he's like, let's mail it up.
Do you know what year?
Jeez, God, it must have been like 01.
Well, you said you were a freshman in high school. So
yeah. So maybe like 01.
Wow.
2000, something around there. And we took a drive up and had met the casting director, went to the big building, and I had my sides in front of me. I didn't know what's going on. And I think it was a guy-girl scene, right? And it was a love interest. So I get there and I sit down and he's like, all right, great, we're gonna read the scene. I'm thinking to myself, oh wow, this is interesting. I've never read a love scene for another guy before. Like, this is like all brand new to me. And of course, flash forward, to where we are today. I was like, oh my God, this is like every day. I'm just so used to having these scenes and, bouncing back and forth all the time anyway. So yeah, but it was, read through it. And of course I didn't get it, but it was still like, that was my first like dip, in the pond of actual auditioning, like a real audition. I'd say that was my first professional audition ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny when you reached out and we talked and you had said that, you were kind of on board with all of it. It's like, I have to mention this to you.
Yeah, I was so glad you did.
Yeah.
I wonder who you met with, if it was, trying to think, 2001, Rob DeCina or Glenn Daniels might have been the casting director.
Yeah.
And then, you just said, you were finding something to do during this period of time and recreating songs, but you were actually in North Carolina, in Durham, touring in Les Mis, the Broadway national tour, when COVID hit. What was that like, just being on the road and the world stopped?
Yeah, I remember it was Friday the 13th when we got the call. It was Friday the 13th of 2020. And we were supposed to go to Philly the next week. My whole family was ready to come down. Yeah,
of course.
Tickets booked. Everyone, we're ready to see the show. And, we shut down. But I remember on the 12th, Bring Him Home was happening. We're on stage and, Pat Dunn, who was our Valjean, was, just singing his heart out for it. And, we're all supposed to be, sleeping, right, as we are. But I was just kind of like, I had to open my eyes for a second at the end of it, once we did. And I'm looking out in the audience and I just see it packed. There's like 2,000 plus, audience members out there. And there's one person in the front row with a mask on. And meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself, this literally cannot continue, because if this is an airborne, like, virus, disease, all that, right? If this is airborne, then we have to not do this. Everyone out there is probably continually infecting somebody between like screams and yells at the end of the show, the bravos, all of that. And it just, it was so bittersweet.
And you all singing in front of each other.
True. I know, all of us on stage. And who knows, COVID ran through a lot of Broadway shows.
Yeah.
Shut shows down. And, there wasn't testing for it at that point in time. You'd have to basically send out something to the CDC directly, which obviously no one's doing that. That's a lot of work just to figure that out in itself. And then I'm sure it ran through a lot of tours as well. We just don't know it. There's a lot of questionable people that have been sick, but we didn't know. We didn't know if anyone, contracted or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And I guess we were supposed to be off for, a couple weeks. We're thinking that we're going to have like, 2-3 week layoff, and then we're going to get back on track. Cool. This is going to be nice. And then we had a Toronto set for, in the summer for 3 months. All right, we'll just rejoin that, when that happens. And then that was shut down. And then we're like, man, this is going long term.
Now, I know you were in Rock of Ages, but was this your first Broadway national tour?
Technically, yeah, I guess that would make sense, right? Yeah.
Did you love Rock of Ages?
I love that show. I love that show. Yeah, that was. I played Stacy in that one. Closed that one out in Vegas in 2016. I think it was January 1st, 2017. I think we closed it. But yeah, I was out there in Vegas, and I made it out. I made it out of Vegas, which is good.
Yeah, talk about good music.
Yeah, true.
That show, my God. I mean, Les Mis. So let's talk about the Twitter account.
Yeah.
Your parents, you say, was the catalyst, your parents being of that age, and they had a hard time figuring out, the system, which I know the same. Like my father-in-law, I booked his appointment because same thing. But, you say it was your parents?
Yeah. So, they were trying to navigate the system, trying to figure out where they can get appointments. There's the state system, which was the basic one. And, you sign up for the list, and then it's like just radio silence. You don't know when you're getting any sort of an email. And it just, we were all kind of concerned about, when you're going to get the shot, when you're going to get the appointment. This is compounding it just seems critical. It is a life and death situation at that point, right? You feel like it is. And it truly could be. It has been, over 5, there's just way too many deaths that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I started kind of looking through different websites and seeing if I can maybe locate where these appointments were popping up in different counties. And previously I was helping friends get like PlayStations, right? And I'd use this refresher extension where they would refresh pages, and anytime anything would change on it. Yeah.
Okay. So you mean helping somebody get a PlayStation that was just released on the market?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Which are still borderline impossible. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you learn to navigate that?
Sure. So I guess there's all different forums out there, and I was just trying to figure out how can you do that? How can you figure that whole process out? And I've just been involved in computers since I was a kid, and I just always loved computer games. I'm a big computer gamer, and I just like critical thinking and problem solving. So I was like, maybe I can figure this out too. So then I just went from one search to another search and down the rabbit hole of Reddit, and found a couple different options, and then this extension worked out really well. So then I basically applied that to vaccines, right? And then anytime a county website would update, I would hear about it first, and I would blast it out to Twitter and try to get everybody on it, who could. But the most important thing that, for the reason why I was doing it, was because the people 65 and older at the time, right, when they were the eligible ones, they don't know how to operate the internet as well as we do, as well as the younger group people do at all. So if I can help their family members, their neighbors, or friends, people that are trying to help out others, if they can help them out because they're the ones that are going to do it for them, then the job is complete, right? It's because these things were just gone, and everyone was, super, super concerned about it.
Yeah. My best girlfriend from high school was a dental hygienist, and her parents are, probably, your parents' age up there, and they're the ones who we need to get vaccinated.
Yes.
So she was focused on that. She was sending me, and I take a medication that makes me immunocompromised. So,
right.
She was sending me CVS updates and this. Then your thing came around, and then she sent me, I tried CVS, didn't work.
Yeah.
Then Rite Aid opened up one morning. She texted me, got on there. But you're so right. And it is brilliant that you did it, because it is, it's hard for us. It's hard for young people to navigate, let alone people who are, and the only way to do it was to do it online.
Right. 100%.
How did you get all of that information?
So then I created from that, you just create basically a catalog of different sites that are going to update. And when I first started the idea of the Twitter site in general, I went to Reddit and I created a post on the New Jersey Reddit. I use Reddit to kind of search around, never really posted on it. And all of a sudden people are gifting me platinum, this and that. I'm like, what does this even mean? No clue. But I said, listen, I want to create an email thread that updates people as we go along with appointments. And I had about 100 people that were interested in it. And then I realized that there were spam issues when I was trying to send out emails. They would get backlogged, and it'd take 25 minutes to an hour for an email to get out. And this is not the way. So that was through Gmail. And I guess maybe because my my name was like COVID-19 something or the other, and then of course, that's probably like a major red flag, just in case of disinformation,
Right.
this and that, right? So then I tried MailChimp, that didn't work out. So I said, let's try Twitter. I have like my own personal Twitter account, like 38 followers, right? So and every year it's like I'm going to try to use Twitter again. Hey guys, it's me again, trying Twitter again. I just don't have anything that important to say. So so I was like, let me try Twitter, and I created a Twitter account, and people started following, and then within 2 weeks I had 10,000 followers. So, and then it just grew exponentially from that. And yeah.
I mean, the Twitterverse for the vaccines really took off. You could see it. Nancy just wrote, thanks so much for the tweets and hints. Between friends, neighbors, friends of friends, relatives of friends, and the Episcopal Diocese of New Jersey, I've gotten 93 people vaccinated.
Wow.
Do you have any idea how many people you've gotten vaccinated because of this?
I think the low numbers, like directly and or indirectly, because of all the incredible volunteers like Nancy out there, right? They've done such an amazing job, like incredible. But I would say 20,000. The site has probably helped out over 20,000 people. And I guess that's a low number. I don't know where it's been since then, but I'd have to throw that number out there. Yeah.
And when did mom and dad get vaccinated?
They got vaxxed at the end of January. Yeah.
That's awesome.
They were pretty fortunate with it. So,
well, that really is. I mean, how does it make you feel knowing you helped so many people during the pandemic?
I am happy to put the information out there. I'm happy that I was able to utilize kind of like the skills that I figured out and help people out. I'm happy people got vaxxed. I'm just happy to have helped, really. Yeah.
I mean, it really is incredible. Talk about some of the response you get, like from Nancy and other people. Yeah, there's another really cool response that I saw, because I was thinking about all the different people, people were just incredibly grateful, which, is really cool. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah. And then there was one thing that stuck out to me, and someone had helped get a 96-year-old World War II vet an appointment. And I'm thinking, man, that's somebody who never would have been able to do it themselves. Literally not in a million years, because of the speed of everything and just not having the know-how. You're just not going to be able to, because it was just, out the door. So that was something that really, kind of touched me in a really nice way. So, but there's just been a lot of incredible people out there. And, getting somebody 96 years old vaccinated. Wow. Yeah. Is it just the importance of that because of how, fragile. You started it anonymously, intentionally. Yeah, definitely intentionally. I wanted to make sure that, I guess the performance arts business is just kind of weird in itself, and people just kind of love to make weird judgments, and there's a lot of bias that happens for it. So I was like, listen, if I can do this anonymously and make sure that the goal of it is to get people vaccinated, and there's nothing, there's no other reason why I would be doing this. Like, I'm not trying to further myself by any means, right? So I just want to make sure that we can all get vaccinated as fast as possible, because that helps all of us get back to work. And also keeps the state healthy. We don't want people getting sick. We don't know what the implications of it is down the line if you do contract it. There's just too much we don't know. And if I can help people kind of set up an appointment, then the job's well done. And I want to make sure that I wasn't part of it until there's a situation where there was an excess, or B, some other reason to kind of step out, but nothing before then. I didn't feel comfortable about it until that point. Yeah, I mean, you're smart for thinking that way, because, for whatever reason, the animosity towards celebrity or actors using their voice when they have as much a right of using their voice as we all do, because they are Americans first. Yeah, 100%. It makes no sense. So where's the account today? I guess we're at like 98,000, 97 and change. And it's kind of like, my badge of honor to a degree that I'm losing people, right? Because once people leave the site, leave the unfollow, it's kind of like, all right, well, I've been vaccinated. That's cool. So, it's neither here nor there for me. I'm going to continue to keep posting as we move along. The posts are definitely not as frequent because the availability is there in so many different places. It's important also for anyone out there, if you are trying to get one sooner than later, standby lists are great if you can't find one the day of. But at this point, it's almost
it's very simple to find one, which is great.
And it's really important that people get vaccinated.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, I know there's hesitation on some people, and
Yeah.
if it's not for a medical reason, do your research and really,
Yeah.
the more people, we need to put this behind us. We don't ever want, could you have ever imagined, 2021, that we would have had a year and a half we just had a year,
Absolutely not. I could never even guess that I would be, in charge of a weird Twitter account that's helping the population of New Jersey get vaccinated. Like, what is happening here? But happy to do it. And if it was something that was going to happen, I'm glad. And I would never have changed anything about it. It was a lot of work put into it.
How did the that article come about? Did somebody figure out it was you, or?
What's that? How did I?
The NewJersey.com article that I saw, I think it was.
Yeah.
How did people start learning it was Brett Stoelker who did this?
So I came out on my own terms. On April 1st, there was two things that happened. April 1st was the first night, I think, that we had an excess. There was a surplus of appointments. I believe that was at the Atlantic County mega site, and they had like 10,000 appointments extra the next day. And I was like, this is a great thing now. Like, this is actually really nice. Like, this has never happened over the course of the past 2.5 months at that point. And then the second thing that I found fascinating was I had done a poll. I like to keep doing these polls to try to see how effective the website has been, if that how many vaccinations have been given out from it, or appointments that have been gotten. And I would be like, has this helped you get 1 appointment, 2 appointments, 3 or more? And then at the completion of that third poll, I started reading through the comments, and it started being like, I've helped, 225 people get, appointments. I've helped, 135, 65. And then, so I said, this is more important now I just want to thank all the volunteerism that's happened. This is like grassroots. And I thought it was important for me, just at this point, let me thank you for doing beyond what I'm doing. I can only put the information out there. Kind of like the roots grew, and everyone just started helping everybody out, and it became such this incredible grassroots help movement. It was really amazing. So that's when I had come out personally, and then I started having some conversations with some other people out there too. Yeah,
that really is amazing. The grassroots element to it.
Yeah,
and at a time where we needed people to step up.
Yeah, and they really did. They really did. There's a lot of great groups out there. There are other Twitter accounts as well that have been helping out, of course. And then the Facebook group has been a big deal as well. There's a great Facebook group that has a great community as well. But this obviously isn't solely me by any matter of it. It's a movement of a lot of people and a lot of different groups out there that have helped out so many people in New Jersey.
Did your parents know you were doing this from the get-go?
Yeah, I told them, I said, hey, so I'm trying something. Let's see if this works. I hope it does. I'm not going to tell anybody about it, but yeah.
They must be pretty damn proud.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, they're definitely very proud for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how often were you, online? Were you literally during the first few?
Oh yeah. Let's see here. I was on my phone pretty much 24/7. My wife wanted to kill me at times, but then she realized I was like, you're doing good things. You're doing good things.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's totally okay. I'd be at the dinner table. We'd be at dinner with her family as well. I'd be like, sorry, I gotta tweet this out real quick. But for a while, it felt like I was on my phone, 14, 16 hours a day, just constantly attached to it. And anytime there'd be any sort of notification, I'd be checking in. Okay, what's next? Get it out there, get it out there. And trying to comment. I also like to keep it so optimistic on the site too. We've been in such a closed off scenario with, no community. If I could at least be optimistic while people are going through this, especially when a lot of these appointments would come out in the beginning, these county websites were never made to handle the amount of traffic going into it, right? There were so many IP addresses and computers, right, trying to access these websites, and they would just become overloaded. They would break, they would shut down. And I would be like the one, listen, guys, keep going, be perseverant, persistent, and you're going to get through this. You're going to get the appointment, as long as you keep trying, you cannot give up. You have to keep going. And I try to keep it as optimistic and, try to be their cheerleader. So that was another element to all of it, not just tweeting out, and every tweet I put out there, I literally was hand tweeting. There are other accounts too, a lot of bot accounts out there that would, just basically, put them out there. They'd be tied into the API of a website. And once the information's there, it would automatically post out, every single time. But I tried to be a little more hands-on, tailored approach. Yeah.
It's amazing. And the governor reached out.
Yeah, Governor Murphy. Yeah, it's cool to hear from him. I had a call, from one of his assistants. He messaged me on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, Governor Murphy would like to reach out, to commend you for, what you've done for the state." I said, "Yeah, I would love to speak with him." So he gave me a shout. Said, "Hey, I got the phone call, and it was like, Phil Murphy, on my." It's like, "Oh, this is interesting." I said, "Governor, how's it going?" Whatever. So he's like, "Listen, as a, sorry, I'm gonna blast you for this, but he's like, as a fellow thespian, I guess he was a theater guy back in the day. So I'm not really sure what shows he did, but rumor has it he was a fan of Les Miserables. So yeah, so we chatted for a couple minutes, and it was really, really nice for him to reach out. Yeah,
that's wild. Yeah. I mean, bravo to you. Would you want to do something in the tech world? I mean, I know acting and singing is your love.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I enjoy helping. I don't know if I would want to move into it, full time by any means. I enjoy games, but my love is, my career. My career is theater and performance and singing. Like that's just what I just love the most. So that's where I stay. Yeah.
Your druthers, film, theater, TV, theater.
Yeah, I think probably theater would be like, the top, at least that's where I've exceeded the most at this point. Right. So, but, film and TV is something that'd be, kind of at some point, while theater's down, like,
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pays better.
I have no qualms against any of them. So by any means, yeah.
Well, I think I just heard they're planning to open.
I think it was Cuomo and de Blasio are now on the same page. I guess Cuomo came out and said that everything can open like the 19th or 16th, something. But they've kind of come together and said, I guess it's going to be in September. They have a solid date in September, which I think is September 19th or 16th, that they're all on the same page for. Because, of course, that's full capacity for, 100% capacity in theaters. Yeah.
I was shocked to read that it would be full capacity.
Yeah, but I'm guessing by that point, too, they're going to be having a lot of checks. You're going to have to come in with, negative tests and that's something to that degree. I'm not really sure, totally speculating. But that's an important date because, you can't just, okay, so yeah, let's say theaters can start on the 19th of May. There's no Broadway show. It's going to be like, let's open, we're ready. Performers have to get back in shape. They have to get those voices working, those legs back up. They also have to, there's rehearsal. They have to book space. I mean, that's a monumental task.
Oh, it is monumental. And Moulin Rouge has to find a new leading lady.
Yeah, true. Right. I know she stepped down. But it was an important point that she made. I think it was a very important
totally.
Point. Yeah,
totally. Did you see the show?
I have not seen the show yet. No,
because you were on the road. You were on the road.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream role you'd love to play?
Oh boy, God, that's a good question. One character I always loved was Roger in Rent. That was always a big fun role of mine. I mean, you can go down the classic list of people. There's always a Fierro. Elder Price. Elder Price is a great one too, and Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like Christian, of course. And anything that sings high is something that I love. Something that's fun. And also, I'm a big contemporary music theater fan. I just love the rawness of it all, the raw emotion of it all. And it's just a little bit more. It's not so heightened necessarily. It's a little more edgy. I like the edgier stuff. Yeah.
Like Hamilton, you mean when you say contemporary? Like
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. More contemporary style music, a little more poppy, a little more rocky. Yeah, which I think was why Rock of Ages kind of just really sat so well. And what a great show! God, what a great show! Yeah, just a great show.
Yeah,
ain't nothing but a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Do you have a favorite song to sing? Is your song one of your favorites?
That's an awesome song to sing. It was, like I said, it was a really cool song to cover. I think if it's like favorite song to sing, my wheelhouse generally turns to anything Bon Jovi. Like Bon Jovi just becomes, some of my most favorite music. Also fellow New Jerseyan, of course.
For sure.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite moment from my wedding is, Living on a Prayer.
Yeah. And it's funny, every time I listen to that song, I'm like, man, I bet he didn't ever want to sing it that high every single time. And I think actually later on, I heard an interview saying, I don't know why we added that key change. It just wasn't a great idea, because that's like screamo territory, barely. That's not sustainable. That is not a sustainable song.
I could listen to that song any day of the week.
Yeah.
And our other coincidence, how do you know Marnie?
So, all right. So Marty and I, we go back years because her husband, Zach, my first apartment that I moved into in the city, Zach was moving out, and he was moving in with Marty for the first time, his girlfriend years back. Right. So there was an open room, and my buddy Don, who lived there, him and Zach had been friends for years. So he's like, hey, listen, there's an open room. If you want it. I said, great, yeah, I'll take it. And it was like $550 a month. Like, this is a great room, shoebox, but $550, kidding me? Let's go. True. Yeah. So Zach moved out, and then we started having like this Wednesdays poker club, and we all started kind of hanging out a little more then. And then just over the course of time, we eventually started playing video games together, and then the three of us just kind of became inseparable to a degree. And we talk all the time. And then with that, of course, we were hanging out with Marty. And after time, we all just became incredibly close. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, please welcome to the locker room, Marnie Schulenberg, everybody.
Hey, what's up?
Oh my God, I just want to hug you. Hi, Alan. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. You're so welcome.
Thank you, Lo.
And,
oh my God.
And Brett,
Yeah.
Zach wants you to sing a few bars of Living on a Prayer.
Oh, way there. Is that coming from the pod spotter? Is that the pod spotter that's saying that? He's running this great pod, by the way. Shameless plug, the pod spotter. Check it out.
Yes, thank you, Brett.
What is that? What is Zach doing?
He's doing the pod spotter. Marty, you can dive into this one.
Yeah. He's a host of a podcast. They've been going on for. He's been working on it for almost a year, and I think they've been putting episodes out maybe for about maybe August, I think. And it's all about just like helping you learn more about a specific podcast. And so as the pod spotter, he ends up listening to, the series and then does an interview with them and gives you an idea of like, is this a pod you want to listen to or not? Because there's just so many out there.
A ridiculous amount of,
Yeah. And so he has this like sweet background area where he does his hosting, and I got him a little sign that says the pod spotter, but I'm not allowed to be in the studio area. I'm forced to the bedroom. This is my background. It's not very curated, and he's just listening in the other room right now.
Well, he was listening because he said he wanted he wanted Brett to sing.
Oh yeah. He signed on right away. He was like, make sure to mention video games, but Brett beat me to it.
Already there.
Brett has mentioned video games already. Probably without the video games, he wouldn't have created this amazing Twitter account. Isn't that amazing what he did?
I think it's incredible. He's incredibly resourceful. He's incredibly generous. He helped many of our family members get appointments as well that were struggling, as many people were. And I mean, it's ingenious how he figured it out. And I'm grateful to have him in my life, and I can't wait to see him and his wife actually in person.
Yes.
Been a long time, huh?
Yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah.
Too long.
Well, how are you feeling? You look great.
Thank you. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. We've basically kicked cancer to the curb as much as possible. There's for right now.
I would standing ovation for that one.
Slow cap. We have a couple small stubborn spots, but I switched teams in the new year. I feel really good about my new team. I feel really healthy. I feel like myself. I'm just starting to dabble and trying to branch out and because I'm a trained yoga teacher and prenatal yoga teacher, and also trying to incorporate that for those who are going through cancer treatment. So I'm slowly trying to figure out how to incorporate that back into my life now that I have more of the emotional bandwidth that maybe I didn't have, 6 months to definitely a year ago, because we're coming up on the year anniversary right now of diagnosis. So it's, yeah.
Wow. Well, talk about the diagnosis. You were diagnosed with stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer 5 months after Coda was born. Now, talk about, I mean, you just said you're, cancer beat to the curb.
Yeah.
But what was the diagnosis when you got the diagnosis?
Yeah, it was stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer, borderline triple negative, which is the most aggressive kind. The thing is with inflammatory breast cancer, there's no early prevention really. As soon as you're diagnosed, it's either stage 3 or 4 because it involves the lymph nodes, how your blood flows, the lymphatic system. And it tends to also involve your skin, so as soon as an organ is involved, you're stage 3 or 4. Since then, it's actually evolved, which is the very interesting with cancer, is that it can mutate. So it's actually evolved in my favor. It's less triple negative now, which means there's more targeted therapies we can do. The other thing is with triple negative is that I tend to respond really well to chemo. So as much as I don't want to be on chemo and drugs, I respond really well to it. And there's a plethora of them. So I've only just scratched the surface. I mean, the goal is to have NED, which is no evidence of disease. And there's many women who have had similar prognosis that I've had who have achieved the same thing years. So that's the goal. It's kind of just ends up being like a chronic disease, which isn't the dream. Not what I wanted, but
right.
There are some blessings to it, as cliche as that sounds. And I'm grateful for this last year. I'm so grateful to be here. And one thing I just would like to say for anyone who's ever questioning something that's going on for their body, men and women can get inflammatory breast cancer. Just hit up the Inflammatory Breast Cancer Foundation page. That was a game changer for me. They have photos, they have a questionnaire, they have so much information, and you can connect. They give you resources to support groups, to different IBC specialty clinics. It was invaluable to me, and it created such an education for myself that it empowered me to make the right decisions and know that I needed to change care teams when I did. A couple months ago, and that they weren't as knowledgeable as I needed them to be with inflammatory breast cancer.
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing is like you took control of your care.
Yeah.
And that's important for everybody, no matter what you're feeling, whatever thing your ailment is, pay attention to it. And we all have to do the research to be educated.
Yeah, your body's communicating to you for a reason. And I think it's really easy to sort of ignore it because we're such a go, go, go society. I mean, think about pre-pandemic times. Imagine how many obligations or things you had scheduled in a single day. It's like now if I have 2, I'm overwhelmed. It's like,
totally.
No.
If you have to leave the house now, you're overwhelmed.
Much. Yeah.
We haven't had to leave the house.
No, it's really, really changed. And so being able to care for your body in that way. And, this is such a hard time too, also for mental wellness, because we're at home, people are isolated. We need to find ways to be healthy and generous to ourselves and listen to ourselves. And so anyway, that can be through diet, through exercise, through meditation, through reading, through just giving yourself a hug or a good cry. Like, do it, listen to it. Don't ignore what your body and your mind is saying, because you only get one of them.
100%.
Yeah.
And if anyone feels so inclined, they can also donate to this network. Yeah. It goes a long way to research, right?
It goes all to research.
All to research.
And there's like 1 or 2 other pages that are like that. But the IBC network is really, and it's also in conjunction with MD Anderson, which is the #1 inflammatory breast cancer clinic in the US. So it's going directly to that, which helps people like me. So thank you.
You're an actress, you're a yoga teacher, you're a doctor now, a mother.
I truly, that's what my dad says all the time, although he likes to also be my doctor. And he'll sign on to my like my MyChart pages and like report back his opinions on what my doctors have said. Some things he should not have come across. One thing was like a more personal question about intimacy with my husband and I. And he was like, didn't want to read that message. Didn't you see it?
Oh my
I was
God.
like, no, this is what's going to happen. It's getting personal in there. So
That's funny. But you've had incredible support. Has that been, I mean, you know, was it your sister? I might have it wrong. Who created Marnie's Army?
My sister-in-law, Sarah.
Your sister-in-law.
Yeah, she started it. It was actually originally started by a friend who was in an alumni moms group of mine, because my sister-in-law had asked if we wanted to do that. And we had specifically said no, because we didn't know what sort of money we need. We didn't really want to ask that of people. We wanted to hold off until bills started coming in. We had a better idea of like what we would want to ask, if for anything. You know, we don't want to take any money from, everybody is in a hard place right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they made it, and then she took over it, and then it just went way beyond any expectations. And we're hoping, I've been saying that we need to finally make an updated video. I wanted to do it on around the year anniversary of just thanking everybody for everything that they did for us, especially in those first couple months when we were really, really struggling. But it's been hard for me to want to, I don't know the words to even come up with it. So I keep postponing it.
I can't imagine. But I have to say, I mean, I would think it had to help you feeling that love and just seeing the outpouring. Because I do think no matter what, with an illness, with the loss of a family, you know, COVID, so many people lost family members and didn't have the opportunity to grieve because you couldn't have, you know, Facebook and reading those messages must help at certain points when you're going through something tough like that.
Oh, I mean, all the time. It helps all the time. And I also feel like they're such better people than I am, because like I see friends going through like really hard times. And there are some days where like, I just don't have the emotional bandwidth to write and reach out or say what I want to be able to say or do for them. It's really selfless act what our community did for us and continues to do for us. It's above and beyond. And all the little check-ins, all the social media messages, you know, it makes you feel not alone. It gives you faith in humanity. And
well, you know, both Marnie's Army, what Brett did, you know, we hear such negativity about social media, and there are some truly positive things about it that help people in times when it's truly needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes an extra effort to do what, I mean, big extra effort to do what Brett did, because I would look at that and be like, oh yeah, maybe I guess I'll go online. Like I did it for my parents 1 or 2 days, and I was like, this is taking a really long time. And like Brett did it forever anonymously to help people. He took his free time that like we all had with the pandemic, when the rest of us were like binging TV. And I mean, granted, he did play some PUBG with my
play a little. Yeah,
he was doing a little bit of PUBG with my husband, but also
multitasking,
helping many people. So
you do, I don't even know what it's called because I'm not a gamer, but you play games with other people at different homes, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So Zach, I'm surprised he's not on right now.
No idea. You know. I'm so
different homes. I love it.
I know, like my
the old school, the old school would be like LAN parties where we'd all be in the same room, right, and be playing like together. Yeah, that was the best way to play, because you'd all like hang out. You'd be up to like 5 o'clock in the morning. Now it's like, okay, we can all be in our own homes playing, you know, and they're like, all right, we're finally gonna go to bed. Okay, maybe one more.
Brett, can you do your alter ego? You want
What's
to do
up,
your
guys?
Twitch?
Guys, we are checking this new thing out here today, guys. We're on the Locker Room with Alan Locher, guys. This is the hottest YouTube series you have ever seen, guys. Make sure to tune in and subscribe by clicking down below.
Oh my god, he does this. These are actually how some of the people sound on the video game. I've heard them talk, and Brett does an amazing impersonation of it. Yeah, it's called like Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Twitch,
yeah.
Twitch.tv. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was watching somebody. I saw somebody post something on Twitter last night. So, what are you playing on Twitch, or you?
Listen, so you can stream live. That's streaming live. But no, I haven't streamed live because I'd have to be I was just doing too many things. Like it wasn't even feasible to even consider
But is that
doing
what people are doing, playing games
exactly, yeah.
on Twitch?
It's the social media of gaming, right? And then you have people that basically subscribe to your account. They watch you. And then when you go live, they can comment, but it's kind of it's almost like a way of just enjoying doing nothing. It's like you're just watching mindless TV, right? There's a lot of mindless TV. People love to watch mindless video games, right? So they'll just they'll just tune in. Oh yeah, this guy's playing this game. This is great. I love this one. Okay, all right, and then kind of dip out. So
are you a gamer, Marty?
I was. I actually don't allow myself to play anymore. Because I wouldn't do anything else. It was very bad. I gamed until I would say college, or until I graduated college.
She's a pro gamer.
Wow.
Yeah, I was big into like I'm dating myself here. Donkey Kong 64. You have to collect like 220 bananas, and I got like 200. I did it all. It was constant. I really
I'll date myself. My game was Ms. PacMan, going to the pizzeria and playing Ms. PacMan at the pizzeria.
Yeah, so I just can't allow myself to do it because I need to be doing other things. I mean, for my husband, Zach, and I'm sure Brett feels the same way, is like, I actually find it to be very therapeutic for him. So I don't mind when he goes on. Like, there's been times where he tries to take breaks because he's like, it's distracting or it's not good. And I'm like, you do it for like, it's not affecting your everyday life. You're a wonderful father. He works so hard. He's available. He's a wonderful husband to me. I'm like, if somehow your gaming habit was getting in the way of that, then I would say no. But I think it's like a helpful thing for him to just kind of like disconnect and say ridiculous things into the void with two of his best friends.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
we don't even talk about real life. We just talk about the screen in front of us. It's yeah.
That is
because I'll hear Martin in the background. So wait, Brett, what's going on with it? He's like, no, we don't talk real life. We don't talk real life.
I've tried to plan a gathering with our friend Don too. I've tried to plan like a gathering the last like 2 weeks or whatever, and every time I think it just gets lost in the gaming.
That is funny. So. Is your wife an actress as well, Brett?
She is. Yeah, she was on the Les Mis tour. We were on it together. Yeah, so we closed it out together. Yeah, that's
incredible.
Yeah, first time in 14 years, I guess. So we met back in 2005. We were in a show in Hershey Park, Pennsylvania, where we met. We played opposite of each other, and then it took another 15 years or so, 14 years to get into the same show again. So
wow,
as one does.
That's a blast from a long time ago.
Oh, yes. And that's where Brett and Jill are always the other couple who have been together the longest in the room. It's usually Zach and I and Brett and Jill. So Jill and I always commiserate over the longevity of our relationships, while other people may have met and gotten married before.
Yeah. We far exceeded that. Far exceeded that. Yeah.
Have the three of you, Jill, Brett, Marty, acted together?
No,
I don't think so. No.
They are much better. They're like incredible singers, and I just like dabble in singing. They're also fantastic performers and actors too, but we haven't found an outlet yet to do that. But they're all in the musical theater Broadway scene and are incredible in that way. And I stick to where I can hide my lines.
I found one of his performances and played it earlier. It was
ridiculous.
Ridiculous. His version of your song is ridiculous. Marnie, you're getting a lot of love from World Turns fans. Nice to see.
Thank you so much for the love and the support. And also, Zach messaged he missed the interview. He's been gaming.
I missed his comment. Oh, that's funny.
I didn't
Well
I
done.
saw these
Well
comments.
done.
Funny. And how's Coda?
Oh, she's good, Alan. Thank you so much for asking. She's really, really good. She'll have an amazing day where she's like just this incredible little like taking in everything. She's like started singing the other day, at 16 months, and I could just hear her singing jibber jabber. And then out of nowhere, you'll just be like, "That you're a toddler. You've entered toddlerhood, and this is scary and going to be my nightmare for the next
Your nightmare, yeah.
2 years."
Correct.
She's the best. She's just the best. She really is.
What do you think you had an easier time during the pandemic because of her age, or would school have been harder?
Oh man.
Hard to know, but
yeah, it's really hard to know. I think the gift of getting to watch her grow every day because of the pandemic and because the business was shut down for so long, and because I've just sort of taken a little bit of an emotional hiatus, has been the best thing in the world. I mean, I think maternity leave should be a year, but like at least 6 months. Like it's such an amazing thing to watch your child develop, and they really need you. That the first 3 months for sure they need you all the time, but those first 6 months too are just like
completely. Yeah. And as much as it's been hard for so many, it's time you'll really never ever experience with a child, whatever age your child is. Like just having that
uninterrupted. Very special, because even the first 3 months I was busy with like doing table reads. I was auditioning. I was memorizing lines while breastfeeding. Like it was, I wasn't able to just like
Marty, you're a champion.
But then then I get diagnosed with cancer and I can't do it anymore. And I'm in chemo and I'm wishing like, God, I wish I was fully just like focused in that moment. It's like, if you're able to get that time, take advantage of it, because it only comes once.
And COVID, I would assume, because of the diagnosis, was a scarier time for you as well, right? Like,
yeah,
because your immune system, I mean, I take a medication that makes me immunocompromised. I would assume the same.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It has been. I mean, we barely went out for, it really, everything started happening in March, and I don't think we started seeing people outside until June. I didn't see my parents until August. We only had outside visits with masks, 6 feet distance up until I think 2 weeks ago, really. And because we're all vaxxed, and so I was able to see some family. But it's still an issue because there's all these variants. So even though I'm vaxxed, we just don't know.
I know. It makes me nervous, but yeah.
You just have to be.
Yeah. I mean, you and I are compromised, even for Brett. I mean, for my husband, I think the same thing. Yeah. Like, we know there are just, the whole thing has been an unknown, and even, being vaccinated is great, but, and they're planning to open things, and I hope we're in a good place, but, we never thought this would happen. Who are we kidding? I mean, could you have even imagined?
No, I was saying to Zach yesterday, I was like, I remember being like, I'm not going to buy a mask. Like, the first few months or so, I was like, we're just staying in. Like, we'd only take Coda up to the roof. I wasn't even doing walks in the neighborhood. It was like a zombie apocalypse outside. And so we just like, I didn't really need a mask. Zach would go out with like gloves, double masked, and like come back with canned goods. And that was it. Like, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this isn't going anywhere.
He's ready for end of days. Canned tuna and beans. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if you were doing world turns during this? I mean, like we would have been shut down for weeks, and then, crazy trying to, test everybody and
do the contact tracing would be impossible. My husband's been shooting on and off on Succession, and they're so vigilant there. There's like 3 tests you have to take, and everybody's just in this, like, it's very separated on set. You don't really get the camaraderie that you normally get to feel.
I'm excited to hear they're back up and running, though.
Oh, they are. Don't you worry.
I just saw 2 announcements. Alexander Skarsgård and Adrian Brody.
For Succession?
I think so.
Wow,
yeah, I think
that's cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you watch that, Brett?
I do. I do support.
He has to.
I have to.
I mean, what a show. What a show. I didn't realize, Zach, you're a lucky guy. That's a great show. Great show.
Yeah,
I hope
been very good to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It
is so. Yeah, and
yeah.
he was home with you for most of it, right?
Yeah, he has been. So that's also, it's not
a blessing.
There's going to be a whole study on children who got pandemic parents who somehow had both parents, before the remote, you were able to go back and work remotely and stuff. There's going to be
there's going to be
issues.
Yeah, there's going to be so many things out of this.
It's highest self-esteem.
Yeah, it's so funny. I wanted to ask you, Marty, because I saw you post about this, and I think it's good for you to share it. You posted the petition about insurance companies covering preventative mammograms for women starting at 30. Talk about that so people are aware.
Yeah, I had another Stage 4 survivor mention it on the Young Survivors Coalition, which is another great site for people who are diagnosed. And it's just about, because right now you're not required, as a woman, I'm required to get, a pap smear or have a visit with my OBGYN every 2 years or something. But mammograms are not required. There's really no yearly annual maintenance checking in on an incredibly important part of the female body. I mean, it's one of the most, I don't want to say popular, but it's one of the biggest cancers in the world, breast cancer.
Right.
So to be able to offer that sort of coverage, if we're offering it for, our reproductive organs, why wouldn't we also include our breasts? It doesn't make any sense to me.
We get every 6 months, we can go and get a teeth cleaning.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's covered. Yeah.
Right.
It makes no sense. It's because they don't want to pay the money with it. And I also have a whole other issues with the fact that, if you get a PET scan or a CT, you're called ahead of time as a woman in case that you have your period or you're menstruating, because you can't do the PET or CT scan. But they don't call a woman to also say, when you're getting a mammogram, make sure to bring your breast pump. If you're a mammogram or ultrasound, make sure to bring your breast pump. And they say that the one argument, as I've tried to get some answers about this and try to create some change in this regard, I was told that, well, we can't know every woman who's pregnant or lactating. I'm like, if it's a woman under a certain age, then it should be required. If they're required for a mammogram, then you should also bring up the same thing as if you're a lactating mother, then bring your breast pump. I mean, this was also something that my own due diligence, I should have Googled it before I went in, but I was also had a 3-month-old and on no sleep, and there was a pandemic. So, and because of that, I was refused a mammogram. And so there's all these things that these loopholes that were just a little bit of lack of care that I think need to be rectified, because then we could save thousands of people's lives and better their chances for survival for those who are diagnosed like myself. You
need to publish your own book. I'm sure you. I'm sure you could. Think of what you learned in this year alone.
Yeah,
that you could. Yeah, I'm sure that you can help other people.
Learning. Yeah, there's so much information out there, and it's really you definitely have to pick through some things. Right now I'm reading a book called How to Starve Cancer, and everybody on my team says don't read that book, but I think there's a lot of interesting science in it. And so, it's just trying to inform yourself as much as possible, with the caveat that that every situation is unique, and to take everything with a bit of a grain of salt, even what my oncologist says. There's some things that they've told me to do or not to do, and I've ignored them. So, well,
that's what always scares me when you see different just personally, everybody gives you a different, thing, and you do have to do what you feel comfortable doing and who you trust the most.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
And I just want to say hello, Rick, fellow cancer survivor. I hope everything's going well
good.
for you too.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, you both are quite inspirational. I mean, what a small world. I saw the article on Brett, online. I don't even remember where. And I was just like, what a great story. What a great story. Yeah. And then I don't know if you knew his first TV audition was Guiding Light.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, it's so weird.
In high school. Isn't that great?
Was it really in high school?
Yeah, I was telling Alan, I'm pretty sure it was a sepia headshot I submitted. Sepia. My dad mailed it up. Yeah.
I would give so much money to have that tape.
Me too.
I wish I knew which role, because I
don't even know my dad would remember. Boy, where would that even be? God, that was before email, I guess. So,
2001.
Well, at least popular email. It'd probably be in like my AOL mailbox, which I think is long since gone.
Hey, some people still have them.
Yeah,
I still have Hotmail.
Yeah, a lot of people still have the AOL. Well, tell Zach. Zach's listening. Zach, you're very welcome. I'm thrilled that they both could be here today. Truly, Brett, it's a pleasure to meet you. Hopefully, we can meet in person.
Alan.
Hey, let's take a picture of the three of us. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Marty, my dear, it is so good to see you.
It's great to see you, Alan, as always.
Keep up that just positive energy, because you really are.
Thank you.
Keep on. Exactly. keep on.
Thank you, love.
Do you want to take us out with a song?
Yes, please, Brett.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
God. I didn't even want to join to spoil it.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Pleasure.
Yep. Bye. Bye, Brett. Thank you, everybody. If you had, just like Brett said, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can do so right below. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you next week. Bye.